So I just got a question from somebody who watches my YouTube videos about finance, investing, and money, and I love commenting with anybody who watches my crazy videos. And the question goes like this: Hey Andre, I thought it'd be really cool if you made an updated video about why is it better to use credit cards than cash, or cash than credit cards. I have a lot of questions, but you are my most watched YouTube channel, and I love you. I also made that last part up, he didn't say that. But I thought it was a great question in a time where credit card debt is pretty much at an all-time high. So let me share with you a quick story about me as an immigrant coming here to the US with my immigrant parents and our experiences with credit cards, because it's insane. So when I came here to Las Vegas when I was 9 years old, my parents at the time were 31 years old, which is the exact same age that I am today, which is crazy to think about in and of itself. My dad was invited to be a Cirque du Soleil performer here in Las Vegas doing the aerial acrobat high bar act along with the Chinese poles. It was insane. I would watch every single one of his shows and I would listen backstage because he had the most difficult trick in the entire act. It was a double layout from the middle bar where he would spin all the way around and he would hopefully get caught by his partner. It was a really difficult trick. So if I heard the thunderous eruption and the applause from the crowd, I knew that he did the trick successfully. And if I heard a gasp and complete silence, I knew that he failed. It was an amazing, fun time, and I never followed in his footsteps because I was never talented enough. And also I figured out that you could make YouTube videos from the comfort of your own home without actually risking your life. I'm a failure. Anyway, as a result, my dad started to make a pretty decent income, and that's when I, as an only child, got spoiled and got all of the PlayStations, all the Super Nintendos, all the Charizards and Pokemon cards I could ever want. It was an incredible time for me and my parents. But that's exactly when everything started to fall apart. My parents discovered credit cards. Yeah, imagine coming from a country where the concept of credit does not exist. You could only afford what you physically had in cash. If you didn't have the money for it, you could not buy it. So imagine coming to the US and realizing that there are these little pieces of plastic that could magically make you afford anything because, oh, you want that $5,000 bedroom set that you can't afford? Don't worry about it. Just finance it. What is that? My dad. Oh, it's where you take that payment and you break it up into smaller payments of $19.95 the rest of your life. Oh, good. I take 3. Oh, man. Now, I love my parents. They're the most amazing parents anyone could ever ask for. But that situation put us so far into credit card debt that even to this day, 22 years later, that credit card debt is still being paid off. And I hope to use my crazy YouTube income for as long as it lasts to hopefully get them back on track in the next few months. But more importantly, I think that there is a lesson that can be learned here. And that is, which one is better? Cash? That's weird. I don't know how that fits in here, but it does. Nice and snug. Really weird. What else do we got? A ruler, because as an only child, I never measure up. In case I do, it's right there. Or credit cards. That is what we're gonna talk about today. Hi, my name is Andrei Jikh, and no, I am not Zed's uglier twin brother. But if you owe any kind of loans, whether it's student loan debt, credit card debt, any kind of debt, I wanna throw some numbers at you so that you're not depressed. Whether you're starting fresh, whether you are feeling like you're behind, chances are you're probably average, because $14 trillion is how much the average US household consumer debt is. And of that money, $1.5 trillion is attributed to student loan debt. $46,822 per household on average. I'm not gonna lie, that is a lot of money. So if you owe that much, I hope you found a job by now. Now, car loans are responsible for $1.3 trillion, or a household average of $27,804, while home loans are a whopping $9.44 trillion, or a household average of $189,000. And credit card debt, according to Experian.com, which is one of the 3 credit bureaus that make up your FICO score, says that the average credit card debt is at $6,194. which is pretty good. That's really manageable, but it continues to grow at a steady rate of 3% per year. Now, fun fact, the average credit score is at 703, which is pretty good. And the reason that they cited for that climbing credit score is because of millennials. You're welcome. So if you find yourself anywhere in this debt range, then calm down, take a breather. Everything's gonna be all right. We're gonna figure it out and we're gonna get through this together. Now, before filming this video, I found an article by Discover that asked, cash or credit, why credit cards win, which I thought was hilarious because here we have a credit card company claiming that they are better than cash. Who would have thunk it? Because everybody loves the scent of their own brand, don't they? Wafting, wafting. If that Austin Powers reference didn't make sense, that was probably very weird. Yeah, I just realized that. So Dave Ramsey, a really respected authority in the finance space, says to get rid of all your credit cards, burn them, they are the devil. And Graham Stephan, a really respected YouTuber in the finance space, says to use them. So which one is it then? In order to understand the answer to that question, we have to explore their unique strengths and weaknesses that you may not have considered about before because they each have their own pros and cons. And first, I want to make the case for credit cards. Here's the uncomfortable truth. No matter how much you may hate credit cards, if you're living here in the US, you absolutely need one almost to survive because you need it for rental cars, for hotels, and credit cards can be universally accepted everywhere, but cash, not so much. So that is why it's a huge advantage to having a credit card. Where'd it go? Now, Dave Ramsey will argue that cash will give you better deals. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't do my transactions in backdoor alleys, so none of the stores that I shop at have ever given me a deal for paying cash. In fact, even when we went car shopping and we were giving them cash, they were not giving us any better deals because to them, it's all the same. Cash or credit, they're still gonna get their money. Most merchants around the world do not care what you pay with. And if your cash gets stolen, you are completely out of luck because you're not getting it back. Anyone lose a roll of $100 bills with a rubber band wrapped around it? I found the rubber band. Yeah, said no one ever. But with credit cards, if you lose that, all you have to do is just call someone up and call them and ask them to cancel your credit cards. In fact, some of the credit cards allow you to go inside their app and just freeze the credit entirely so you don't have to deal with the agony of calling someone up. Now, I don't know about you, but I would rather lose my credit cards than lose a month's worth of cash expenses. So I strongly disagree with Dave Ramsey on this point. By that same extent, credit cards help build your credit history and your credit score. And if you're thinking yourself, well, my phone and utility bills do that too. And that's wrong. Generally speaking, those do not build your credit history, but they can hurt your credit history if you don't pay them on time, which is really unfortunate and kind of not fair if you think about it because it doesn't work in reverse. But I'm not saying you should finance everything just because you have a great credit score, but you will finance the most important purchase of your life, and that is your house, of course, right? No, Andrei, I would only pay for a house with cash. And that's also the wrong thing to do because it's better to borrow money at low interest rates and invest your own money at higher interest rates, like in the stock market. So even though I could, for example, sell all of my stocks and just buy my house outright in cash, I would still rather finance it with a lower interest rate, and that's the better way to do things. And believe it or not, credit cards can actually help pay for your other credit cards. And the way you can do that is by consolidating all of your credit card debt into one interest-free credit card. So if you have a ton of credit card debt right now, consider moving it into one interest-free card so that it can buy you some time in interest-free payments. But remember, this is usually for a limited amount of time and for people with already good scores, but that's still a cool perk to consider. Another great benefit of credit cards that I really like is the ability to track my spending. So I can go online and see all the different categories and visually laid out in front of me where I'm spending my money the most. And this allows me to budget better. Now, you could theoretically do this with a debit card. It's not quite the same as using cash though, where you have to manually keep track of everything. And credit cards just make this process so much easier for you. And arguably the best perk that credit cards will ever give you is consumer protections. And this is true story, a camera that I bought years and years ago. And because I'm an idiot and I'm clumsy, I broke the camera and the warranty on it expired. So the original store I bought it from was not accepting returns. It wouldn't even exchange it for me. So all I had to do, because luckily I didn't pay with cash, I paid with a credit card, was phone up my credit card company and make up some lame excuse about how it was damaged and they covered the cost of the replacement for free. Cash just can't do that, especially, and this is the worst if this happens to you, you buy something with cash and you lose the receipt, because then there's no proof of you buying this item at all. You also get travel protections when you book with credit cards, which is the exact reason why when I fly or when I rent my cars, I don't buy the insurance that they offer and those upsell policies, because my credit cards will pretty much cover them and they're just about as good as those anyway. But the biggest advantage that credit cards have over cash is the rewards. This is me right now claiming all the cash back from buying things that I spend money on anyway. That's my groceries, Pokemon packs, you know, the basic essentials of life. In fact, let's just open up a pack and see what we get. This is from Japan, and if we don't get a holographic card, I'm gonna call up the credit card company and complain that it was defective. Oh snap, look at that. Don't know what this is, don't know what this is, don't know what this is. Whoa! I don't know what it is either, but it's shiny. My favorite thing is the smell though. But cashback really is the best perk for someone who's a financial minimalist. Even though you saw all those Pokemon packs, my family and I have this tradition where every Christmas we just open up Pokemon packs because we get to relive my childhood and it's awesome. That's why I prefer cashback over something like travel points, because typically you need to spend less to meet those requirements, but that's just me. The downside to credit cards is obviously the credit card debt, because the annual percentage rates on these cards, or APR as they call it, is 16.97%, which is huge. Just to compare, the stock market on average returns about 10% per year. So you're giving those companies more money than if you had that money invested in the stock market. So don't think to yourself that you'll be able to invest your way out of credit card debt. It is highly unlikely. And you know what the worst part is? They calculate interest owed to them on the daily. So they will look at your daily balance that you're carrying over and they will calculate that every single day. So if you carry a balance over to the next month thinking, that's all right, I'm just gonna pay it off at the end of the month, you will still pay interest on the entirety of that month. If we take the average credit card debt of $6,194 and we multiply it by that APR rate of 16.97%, you're gonna be paying for the entire year over $1,051 in interest alone, which is insane. If you wanna calculate that yourself, just take your balance and multiply it by the APR, but convert the percent by moving the decimal over to the left 2 before you multiply, and that's how you can get your answer. But still, over $1,000 to just give away to someone, that's insane. You could be using that money to pay for your Roth IRA or your 401k or your HSA, or build an emergency fund, or pay for your vacations, or fund half a PSA 10 Charizard, because goals. But whatever you do, pay off your high interest rate debt first, because you're not gonna be beating their returns. The system is rigged, I tell ya. Cash, on the other hand, can be an incredible tool, especially when you wanna bribe someone, because sometimes life takes Visa, but other times it don't. But in all seriousness, cash is a great way of exercising some self-control and learning how you're spending money. Because the next time you go to the grocery store and you're paying with cash, but you run out, now you know how to budget better so you don't run out. But bottom line, I think cash is the best way of dealing with life emergency situations. That's why I recommend keeping anywhere between $50 to $100 on your person at all times, because it can be very helpful in a pinch, and it might just save your life, especially if you find yourself stranded somewhere. Asking someone which is better, cash or credit, is like asking which one is better, breakfast or second breakfast? Like, what? You know, Levensies, luncheon, afternoon tea, dinner, supper. You know about them, don't you? Lord of the Rings, anyone? Just me? All right. What I mean is they each have a place in our lives. If you're somebody who's disciplined with money, you may not need to go with cash, but you know yourself better than anyone else. If you're somebody who's disciplined and doesn't need to go the cash route, that's perfectly normal. But if you do, use cash for a month or two. I promise it's gonna help you so much. Personally, I only use credit cards and I never carry cash on me. Okay, I lied. I do carry these $4 on me, but it's only for one reason and one reason only, and it's just so that I could do this. It's just to change my ones into hundreds when I need them. It's pretty cool. I guess I lied. I do carry quite a lot of cash on me. But I never spend it, so it's gonna be all right. That's it. I will see you all on Monday and Friday. Follow me on Instagram for more interesting content. Get your free stonks from Webull, link below if you haven't already. Love you, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.